Welcome, you guys. Welcome, welcome. This is Jacqueline Jax, and we're gonna do some Christmas cards. So right down in front of you, I have the last Christmas cards that we painted on this channel for our members, and hopefully you guys will go and be able to check those out. I'm gonna get out 3 different kinds of paper, and we're gonna do like a fun little run of ideas, something quick, because the ones that we last did, we did a little more, I don't know, like a little more dramatic, right? This is, of course, using the colors from the Holiday Watercolor palette. But you know, I also want to do a blue. So let me see what came in the kit. So in the kit that I just sent out for winter, I sent out the Amber Fields watercolor palette, right? Let's get my kit out. The pink envelope. We sent out the holiday palette, which is this one with some different papers, and then there's Winter Glow. And I believe in Winter Glow there's a really, really beautiful blue. Now there's also, I think, a blue, if I'm not mistaken, in the is it in the amber? In the amber palette, there's a Blue Horizon. And in the Winter Glow palette, hello, hello, hello. Thanks for joining me live. Those of you joining me live, you are able to see the live stream. Thank you and welcome. Those of you who don't make it live in, hopefully you'll be one of my watercolor members here on the channel, and that will allow you to see all of the archives of my tutorials as we go along for the year. So Storm is the one from the Winter Glow. So if you have the palette and you guys received it, then get out Storm. Looks good. This is going to be fun. I like Storm. Okay, so we've got that. These are going to be a lot faster to do, so we're going to line them up and do some fun cards. So this one I'm just going to fold. This is the Jax cotton paper. And it's going to be interesting to see how different papers react and how I respond to different papers, because this is something that I feel like it can be hard to teach, because things are going to happen on the spur of the moment, and it's always better for me just to be dealing with it at the spur of the moment, right? Okay, so here's another one. So we'll do 4. It's not all going to fit on the screen, but I will flip in between. So we have a Jax Cotton watercolor available at jaxwatercolor.com. These are 100% cotton, 300 GSM. They're really, really beautiful cotton. It's kind of like in between Arche and Fabriano, that type of thing. Really nice quality. I have a handmade rag that is a like a natural finish. It's really pretty. We were selling these on the website, but I think we're sold out. This was also being sold on the website. I believe it's still available. This one I try to keep in stock. This is a handmade, really, really thick cotton. And so it's like almost like a cardstock. And they come in these really beautiful deckled edge pieces. You can paint front and back. They're rough, and I just fold them to make cards. They actually fit in these envelopes. Once again, if you guys got these envelopes with these sets when they were available on the website. And then this is one of the other pieces. This was the 160 pound. So this was a lot thinner, but it painted so beautifully. That was the one that we did this beautiful watercolor with the glitter on it. So 4 different kinds of papers, 4 different paper weights. It'll be really fun to see. And the reason why I'm doing it like this is because the idea I have is going to require some dry time. So we can't just sit there and twiddle our thumbs. We may as well just be painting something cool, right? As usual, I'm going to be using my ceramic palette. I love these palettes. I prefer to keep them messy. Now, we've had conversations about palettes before. Not everybody does. I like the color tones I get. I can always overwhelm the colors. These are handmade watercolors. So with that, there's a level of ease within them because there are no fillers. So you're not dealing with things that are going to be muddy, when mixed together. So look at that. Like, look at how like lush and juicy that becomes with just a little bit of water. So this is Storm. So for those of you looking to just buy Storm, it is a really, really pretty color. And I'm just going to kind of put the Storm up here in my palette. And my gosh, I don't even know. I don't even know. Here, do you want to see what the color looks like? Beautiful, right? Wait till you see the way it dries. So, decisions. I don't know. I kind of think maybe we'll do Storm on this one. Probably more than one, to tell you the truth, because I'm just so in love with this color. I feel like it's like my new Prussian, right? Like it's the new favorite of the colors that I have, and so therefore I just want to paint with them like all the time. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I think you do. I think you do. Okay, so different things that we can do that reflect Christmas. Of course, I'm going to start with maybe a landscape with this one. I think so. I think a landscape that's like very snowy. Do we want Christmas trees in the first one, or do we want like a line of Christmas trees? Or let me just go for it with reckless abandonment and just see what happens, because I like to do it that way, because I've got like all kinds of ideas. Oh look, it just started it for me. No problem. Okay, I'm just gonna do that, and I'm gonna take this beautiful color and I'm just gonna put it in there. Oh, so pretty. Okay, so while this is going, we're gonna let that just kind of do its thing, and we're gonna add some water to it so it's nice and wet. And then I am gonna take less of the color and more water, and I'm gonna just kind of touch down a couple of times, just like that. Okay, there we go. So simple, right? Now, as I go through, I'm gonna take my brush, and what I'm doing, what would you do if I donated $100? Okay, so what I do with all of the donations is I paint for pause. So I can either send you one of my paintings, and the money all goes towards rescuing animals. Currently, my rescue is completely full. So my rescue has way too many birds because I have had so many people who needed me to take on these birds. And so right now I am really just looking after them, but enjoying it so much. So I use the money that I raise from the paintings, Paint for Pause, to buy the birds all the things that they need. And that means we pay for the best food and food conversions. We pay for new cages, toys, enrichment, training. I mean, you name it. The birds just have a lovely life. And if I find, or somebody comes to me and they want to adopt a bird, and I feel that they are going to be a better scenario for the birds than I would be, which I've had some really successful adoptions, then I let them adopt them, or we try. Just recently, I've had some really successful ones, like Peeps. He's found a girlfriend, and then the Greens, they just are so happy in their new home. And, you know, and I miss them so much. I got to tell you, I miss them so much. But I know that they're better in those scenarios, you know. Not every bird is going to be great with a flock of birds. And some of them, they just need something different. So I look after them until I find the better home. But some of them will never leave me. Some of them I will always keep in my own flock. So that's what I do with any donations that come in. So much appreciated, and I really thank you if you are looking to donate. This is a great time to do it. I especially am arranging a package right now with a woman that I adopted her bird for her, and that is Dewey. And she is such a lovely lady. And you know what she does? She goes over to Cuba and she brings suitcases full of supplies over there. And I took on her little bird because he wasn't able to get enough attention because she has another one that's been with her since the beginning. And that one, she can't give up, right? But Dewey was somebody else's bird. And you know, he is now one of my favorite little guys. He has totally chosen me as his person, but I would not have been able to adopt him without wonderful people donating and buying the artwork, you know. So as you can see, I'm building up the colors as I go along here, as I'm talking about Paint for Paws. And that's really cool, right? Here's what we're gonna do. Right now, I am actually going to play with some water to bring in some tree area, like that. And it's like puddled, right? So it's pretty big. Then, after I dry this area, and this is going to sound strange, but it's just water control. Now I'm going to load it up with paint. So I partially dried it. It's still damp, but do you see how it's not moving so much in this area right now? So I'm going to load that up with paint. And we're going to do it like an experiment. We're going to take some salt. Okay? Now, not all papers react to salt great. You know, it's really, we're going to see. We're going to see how this one takes it. But this is like an experiment. And if it doesn't react to it, then I'll just paint something else on here, you know. But this is what I want you to do. I want you to play with the different papers. So this whole lesson is about playing with different papers. Okay, so I loaded up. I partially dried some of the area. It's still pretty wet, but it's not so wet that it's sliding around. That's when you want to put the salt on. But there's a learning curve to salt, right? Because when you add salt, some papers do better than others with salt. So you don't be disappointed if for some reason the paper that you're working on doesn't react to salt just right, you know? God, I like this color so much, I'm gonna do it again. I can't help it. I must. Okay, so this card, let's do this way. So I'm gonna start at the bottom, and I'm going to pretend that I blocked it out. And I'm going to wet my brush. And I'm going to start bringing this up. So as I come up, right, it's getting lighter. Okay? Like magic. So we want it to get lighter because we want there to be a pattern in here that we can turn into something. So we can grab this now and we can start looking at what we can do here that might turn into something cool. Now it's going to have to dry. This is going to be a trust in the process moment. Right? Because right now it doesn't look like much. And even if I do this and smooth it out here and then blend this all out, it still doesn't look like much. It's like, oh, what's that going to be? Well, this is going to turn into something really cool. So we're going to wait, and we're going to throw a little salt on this as well. Because we want to, just out of curiosity, see what the salt does. See if it does anything. Okay? Because I haven't really done salt on this paper before. I have, however, done salt on this paper before. So let's take a look and see how this is doing. So nothing to speak home about just yet. We're going to wait and see what happens. Okay? Still waiting to see how interesting that might be. Hopefully it will happen while we're still here and I won't have to blow it dry because I really don't like to use blow dryers. Okay, so here's another one. So this one, I know that this one takes salt well, so maybe we'll do this. And yeah, I think this is the Jax Cotton. So very, very easy to blend. Very, very easy to work with. So I just went across with some stuff on my brush. And we want to get it like kind of wet, you know, so that it has some movement. What do you guys think of all of the beautiful colors in the sky lately, huh? It's been all over the internet. Okay, so I want enough color, but like remember there's a dry shift, right? So we want color, but at the same time, maybe, just maybe we want to like run some streams upwards like this, right? So that we have some backwashes. And then maybe we want to take a little more of this and wet this with just a little more color. Just to let it evolve a little bit, right? Okay. So this is a really cool thing, right? Like we really literally don't know what it's going to turn into. Okay, so now that we have this big old mess, what are we going to do with it? So I'm going to take a piece of tissue, and although I would love to have the time to let this dry down, I'm actually going to just kind of sop up what's on the ends here a little bit. Now I love what's going on there. Look at what's going on there. So cool. And we definitely, like, if you have time, I would encourage you to like shift it in different ways and see if you can see anything in there, you know? So now I'm going to add some salt, maybe just to the upper part, which is probably, it's already probably gone down in the bottom. And we're going to leave that sit and we're going to see what happens with it. So let's go back and check this one. So this one's not dry yet. The salt really hasn't done anything, probably because of the nature of this paper. It's too rough. I really truly think the salt effects works the best on less rough regular paper. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Do a wolf, yes, but that's not like Christmassy, right? But I can start evolving this because this one is kind of ready for the next step. Almost, we're gonna see. So I'm taking some more, because it's off screen. I'm taking some more of my storm. And at this point, I'm gonna start building some Christmas trees on here in the blue. Now you could do this one in green too. That would be kind of fun, right? So while this is still kind of wet, I'm going to play with some little tops of Christmas trees here and just try to like evolve the beginnings of some trees. But I want it to kind of bleed in because, so maybe we'll just like shoot to get the center of the trees darker, so that we can have that room to evolve those trees later. So you see, I'm just going in right where it already is. So I'm not really hitting the white spots. I'm just kind of like letting it bleed in certain areas. And what that's going to do is that's just going to give me a nice base of really, really dark. And it's gonna like kind of blade out. You can kind of see it happening, right? Where we're getting light and dark areas, and we want that. So we're gonna set that aside. And for our fourth one, What else? What else should I do? It's kind of Christmassy, but quick, because I want you to be able to do some cards that are just quick, you know, and nothing that's like too hard, right? Because if it's all hard, it makes it a little more difficult for you, and I know that. But I do want like some different things. So I'm thinking, we've already kind of got like the Christmas tree thing going. We've already got this other one going. I don't want to blow the surprise. Let me think. What else? How about, I have an idea. I think I did this one though. Maybe I didn't. I may not have. Am I making you crazy? Well, this is the drying time we need anyway. So if it seems like I'm stalling, I'm really not. I'm just kind of, you know, taking my time because it's gonna dry anyway. I think I want to do one that's more like a starry night because we haven't done that, right? So we're gonna like leave the round circle in the center here. So let's do it right here. Okay, and from this, we're going to start painting out. Now you can do this as dark or light as you want, but the idea is to get the area kind of wet outside the circle. Now if you notice, because this is deckled edge, I'm actually kind of taking advantage of that beautiful deckled edge and just kind of making the outline of where I stop painting about like that, you know? Okay. I think I got salt in my paint. So I'm kind of going through here. It's got enough color. And then here, well, maybe we'll do, I don't know. I'm like in a slanty mood lately. So we'll do the slant here. Now this is the thinner paper, which I actually love the result of the smoother papers. I think they're really, really nice, you know? And then we're going to give this a bunch of color. So I'm going to take the color directly from the honey pot, so it's real thick. And we're just going to bring that down just like that. And then I'm actually going to take the end of the brush and just kind of move it across with some water. Like we're building a little horizon line. Then here, because we don't really want a harsh line, now I'm going to go in with some water and I'm going to soften this line up a little bit. Okay. Now I'm going to hold my paper up a little bit and we're going to just come down and hit some of these and let them just kind of blend right up. Don't worry about the shapes. If you don't end up with the right shapes, you can always fix it later. And then here, I just want to just give it a little something like that, okay? Now this area here, if you don't like a really sharp moon, which I don't really care, but I don't happen to love a sharp moon, but I do like glitter, right? So let's grab our olive gold and let's go here and we're just going to give it a little bit and let it bleed out. Surprise. And then we're going to go ahead and let it bleed into the sky here with some dots. You can always give it more. So it's got this really neat little gold kind of thing going on. So that way, if for some reason our salt doesn't do anything, which it might not, I'll throw some more salt on it just to see, then it's okay because we've already got the little sparks of those beautiful little gold pieces. So then if we have the gold here, then let's dry brush it down through the bottom and see what happens there. Pretty, I like that. And then I think I'm going to go ahead and feed it a little bit here. In areas where it's dry, you'll be able to do a little more styling with it. Okay? You can even kind of drag it along the bottom. So you kind of got this like neat little gold thing going on. And you can add more later, you know? But isn't that pretty? Well, we did ornaments just recently. We did these. There were ornaments. So, not doing the ornaments today. Today is more like the scenes. You know what I mean? If you want to do some like really cool little winter scenes for cards. Or for like, you know, for paintings to give away. Okay, so let's set that aside. We'll see how that turns out. I think that looks amazing. I really love it. And we can build up and make Christmas trees there if we want to. Let's see how this guy's doing. This one is looking okay, but not like really as evolved as I had hoped, right? It's okay. Didn't really do much. But this is the thing, is this is just a good starting point, right? So from here, what do we do with it? I say we raise the Christmas trees up. Or you could do a ski slope. Or you could do a cityscape here. Or there's so many things you could do, right? It's like, it's limitless as far as the ideas. And I say that because I'm all for having artists be artists and see in your watercolors, especially these type of things, whatever it is that comes to you, right? You don't necessarily have to do what everybody else is doing. You might see something different in here, and that would be great because that's what I want you to see. I want you to see something and act upon it. So I could let this dry, but I don't have the patience for that. So seeing as it doesn't look like it's doing much yet, I'm going to go ahead and put a tree here. So we're going to start building up a tree. And we want it to be a Christmas tree, so we're going to use very, very heavy. And that'll be the point, and then we'll just kind of come down in a triangular mode. And then once that kind of evolves, it will look more like a tree. But remember, there's a lot of salt there. So I don't really know. I believe what I have done in the past is if I added more paint over the salt, it does nothing. So I believe that's what we're dealing with now, but I don't think this was really going to do much. I see a little bit of push, but not nearly like this one on Jack's Cotton, which is working out really, really well. You know, that's starting to really come across. Also, the very, very thick one, it really just pushed it out of the way, you know? It didn't really do a whole lot. But we can start to kind of like give it a little more color because it is still dry, so you can see how it just carries it off, right? Now remember, we want the contrast of the lights and darks, so you don't necessarily want everything to be really dark. Not right off the bat. So if you feel like you didn't leave enough light, then hit it with a little bit of paper towel, and as it dries, then you can literally, you know, keep evolving this. Okay, so because it's still bleeding in there, there's only so much I can do. I can definitely go into these areas where it's no longer bleeding, but you have to be careful because if it continues to bleed, you're gonna have to stop it. Otherwise, you won't see the definition of the trees. So this is where we kind of make those artistic decisions based on experience. And that's why it's important to paint on a lot of different papers and try a lot of different things. Because when you do that, you learn every single time. Like even me, I'm always experimenting and always learning, you know? Did I know? I'm constantly trying new things. And I'm not afraid to try. You can see I'm on a live stream with you and I'm not afraid to mess up because I know that my imagination will kick in and I can fix it and make it into something, something surprising. And I really like that, you know? I like that about me. I get that from my mother. She's always like that. When I was younger, she always amazed me because I would always think one way and that was like it. Right? I had an imagination, but my imagination was different. It was like creative, but she had the kind of imagination that turned any situation into a good situation. Like I would say, oh, Mom, I'm so disappointed in this. And she's like, why? You know, why are you disappointed? Because that's actually, you know, this could happen from that. And I'd be like, oh my gosh, you're so right. I didn't even see it that way, you know? And she's always been like that. It's like the forever optimist, you know? She always thought, yeah, you can turn any situation into another opportunity and something to do something special or, you know, enjoy something special. And she's so right. She's so right. So every time I feel like I lock down and I don't feel that way, I remember her words and I remember how lucky I was to have that. I still have it. She's still around. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So if you feel like, depending on the paper, if you feel like, see here where this area is kind of like all getting dark, I just dropped in a little bit of water and voila, I can pull some of that watercolor right out. And the reason why I did that was just because it's not dry yet and I'm just a little bit impatient, which I am. But I don't know, I have that like I have that problem where I just love to like try different things and keep the water flowing. You know, I'm one of those painters that like, you know, I'm good with just kind of letting it ride. Because I don't know, I always find, I feel like the more I do to stuff, the more fun it looks, you know? And I don't always take the time to do that. A lot of times I'll just finish a tutorial and I'll do a lot of like beginner tutorials where I just don't really evolve the painting, honestly, right? Like it's like we stop and then that's it. We stop right there. And that helps the beginners not to get overwhelmed. But I personally would love to go back on a lot of beginning paintings and just keep evolving those paintings. I think that would be really fun to do and just see what happens with them. Okay, so we're going to leave this for now. We'll bring this one back down. I'm trying to think of what I was doing with this one because I have this, right, with the angle. This is looking really good. A little bit has happened with the salt, but I touched it, so I don't know that I did good by it. Let's grab my little brush here and we're gonna get a bunch of paint and work on those Christmas trees. Now we can also add what I have from my watercolor line, which is white diamond, and I love that white diamond. It's awesome. So again, with this, I feel like this currently is looking just a bit dark in some areas, and I would like the contrast to be a little bit brighter like it is over here. So this is worked out because it dried light, and then I was, you know, I went in at the right time. So I'm able to put the trees. Here, I feel like we need to kind of suck some of that out. Right? Here, I feel like we again need to lighten it up a little bit so that I can do the contrast. So let's let it dry for a little while longer. You see what I'm saying? And then we will come back to it. This one is still drying. Let's come to this one. What was I doing with this one? So this one was, I'm trying to think what I was doing with it. I think that was going to be the sky. I had a good idea for this one. Oh yeah, so that's going to be the sky. So now we have to put in like a snow line. I would say one of the easiest ways to do it would just be like quickly drag a water line across. So let's give that a try. So I'm just going to wet my brush and I'm going to drag a water line across. So that is going to change what the watercolor looks like coming down. And I'm going to re-wet it to see what kind of effect it gives it. It should give it kind of like a watermark, and because it's dry, it should give us something to work with. So let's go ahead and just leave that. Maybe just throw some water in there. Let that kind of like lighten, and we'll set it aside and see what it does. Coming back to this one, I think I need to get the salt off. Yeah. And I'm gonna add a little water here so I can watermark it and get some of the color back out because I have plans. All right, let's let this dry. Coming back to my Christmas trees. Isn't this fun? I love doing this. This is really fun. It's like so interesting. Okay, so now we're gonna build up those trees. So here is a tree. So come down, come out. If you feel like you have too much water on your brush, depending on how your paper is receiving it, like if the water is just kind of liquefying the paint and you feel like it's not dark enough or not the right color, or if it's so wet that it's bleeding too much, then you can just kind of dry things out. Great, love that. And then here, I love this, it's so pretty. Leave that. And here. Now this tree, I don't want to make it real dark. I kind of want to make it a little bit sparse so that it looks more misty. So I'm not going to give it too much. And same here. I'm going to just kind of give it the tree that it needs, like a few little details, but not a lot. And then here, this one, same thing. Going to bring it down, but we're just not going to over-evolve it, right? We're just going to give you so that it stands out as being a tree is there, but it doesn't like look like too much. Because we want a level of mist, right? I think it's really, really neat. It's like romantic and mysterious. Now the brush I'm using is the, this is actually the custom petal brush that that I put out from Jack's Watercolor last year. These are great brushes. I'm using it for trees because it makes such a great uneven, you know, distribution of color. It's perfect for petals, you know, for painting loose. Look at how cool that is. Isn't that neat? You can see them, right? You can see how they're coming along. And that's what we want. But we want the light because remember, if you lose the light in watercolor, you can't you can't really go anywhere from there. You know, when it gets to a point where it's just too dark, then you've lost the effectiveness, because it's the light parts that are making the tree stand out. And if I don't have enough light, I won't have enough to work with. And that's what we want. We want lots to work with. So let's leave that and we'll come back to this one and see what we're doing. So this is looking really good. I actually love the look of some of these areas that are not really defined. And like I said, I don't love to do stuff where it's too soppy. I prefer it to look loose and let the person looking at the art envision it more, you know, see something for themselves in it. Because if you give it all away, if you give the whole idea away right off the bat, I feel like people take it in and move on too fast. They don't slow down. And a good artist makes people think a little bit. A good artist gives you something to think about. You know, they cause you to stop and stir and be like, oh, yeah, that's really neat. You know what I mean? So although we're just doing like little Christmas cards, I feel like we don't need to always put the whole idea right in front of people. Like I didn't need to put the moon in the center, and I didn't need to just leave it blue. I needed to add those little bits of gold because I like that. You know what I mean? And it looks interesting. It looks like something really, really different. I'm going to add a little more of the gold streaking. This is the gold metallic olive. It's actually metallic olive. By far my favorite, I say this all the time, but my favorite metallic watercolor. It looks so good in foliage, you know, when you just want to, or like on horizon lines when you want to add either a dusting of gold or just, you know, flat out gold. Like even how this ended up, how cute. I love these little like gold stars. I think they look so good. All right, I love that. That's so fun. So I wonder what happens if I just add a little bit of gold to the parts of the trees, because, you know, I'm kind of thinking like the gold could reflect like moonlight. You know what I mean? There are previous videos as well from last year if you want some more simple cards that are just like kind of, I don't want to say normal, but just like easy watercolor cards. We did a lot of real beginner ones last year. So I kind of amped it up this year for my watercolor card collection here. These ones, for those of you just tuning in, are also available. These are the two that I just did recently. So that was the last members live stream, and then this one is coming up for my members, which should be really fun. I love this. It's so pretty. Okay, let's see if I can sign with this. There we go. Beautiful. I love that. It's so pretty. It's even got a little glitter on the little trees. That's so fun. So fun. Okay, how's this one doing? This one's doing good. I like it. I can't help myself. I'm gonna have to put some glitter on this. You know that, right? So this is white diamond. This is one of the metallics that came, and I'm actually making it blue because I've got so much blue in my water. This is one of the metallics that came in the winter watercolor subscription, but it is also available at Jack's Watercolor. Thank you so much for the sweet compliments. I really appreciate it. So I'm just going to kind of tap in just a little bit of this glitter. Give it that like snowy, kind of Christmassy vibe. I told you I'd make it look more Christmassy as I went along. But isn't this like a neat one to do? Like you could do this with mountains. You could do it with greens. You can do it with, you know, berries. You can just do this kind of like a thing, this misty kind of tree scenario in so many different colors. And then having that little snowy white on there, it's really neat. It actually looks like, there's a glitter watercolor that I make called Starlight, and the way this mixes with some of the blue, it kind of looks like Starlight a little bit. But White Diamond is very brilliant. It does really, really shine. So I love Starlight for other things, but for Christmas and the holidays, this is like so perfect. It's almost like the trees are decorated. So cute. And it didn't take away from the trees. I can still see all the trees, you know. Now, because we didn't really get a salt effect, you can also take this and use it as some little glittery stars in your sky. I'm just quickly putting these in here. So it kind of looks like snow is falling down or stars in the sky. I think it kind of looks more like snow because it's what we put on the trees. So if you didn't get a salt effect to reflect like a snowy look, then just go back in with the White Diamond. And we can also put a little down on the floor, but I don't want to get distracting with it. So let's leave it like that. I think that looks really, really good. You know, so the trees are the darker, then we have some kind of misty kind of look coming off the trees, and then a little bit of snow. That's really, really pretty for a card, and probably more than you normally would do for a Christmas card, but I really like both of those, so we're going to leave those. I think they're good. We sign the bottom. And then you can write your whatever you want inside. All right, let's see how this one did. So there's my water line. Pretty, huh? Turned out good. So there's my water line. So now we have options. You can put an animal on this one. You can put people on this one. Like a family, you can put a Christmas tree there, a Christmas tree and people. You know, you could do, we could try we could try doing stamping a tree on there and then adding the white. You can paint a silhouette on there. You can put multiple trees on here and then like do some like shadows going down, right? So there's so much that I can think of that I could do on this easily, you know? We could even do just a big tree down here and leave this in the background as like a ridge line, you know, but then like have a big tree here and then maybe write something across. There's so many things I can think to do with this one, actually, the way it is, you know? So what do we want to do with it? I would say for this one, we could, I mean, we've already done like the tree, and then we're going to do this next one, right? So we want a big forest. I think I'm just going to do like a shadow of something. But it is Christmas. So let's start with our White Diamond and see what happens when we do this. So This little area here is interesting because it's already white, right? So let's see what happens. If that's the ridge, then we're going to start here. And I think I'm going to build up a fairly big tree. With our snowy white diamond. I'm going to cover this area so it doesn't look like you can see through the tree. Okay. Nice big fluffy tree. Kind of sitting in the snow. And then a reflection. So say there's moonlight, maybe if the moonlight is here, then the reflection would go this way. If the moonlight's here, it would be too far off. So I think we do definitely want the moonlight to be somewhere here. So maybe let's remove our salt because it's done. There you go. Still has nice texture though, didn't it? We got some good texture. So I'm gonna take this and make our moon over here. So see how cool the white diamond is? It gives you really good coverage for something that's a watercolor and that is able to be transparent in some ways and then completely not in others. But see, like the transparency, like whatever you put it over, it kind of tints it. So it's like giving us like a really coordinated look, you know? Another one of my favorite metallics from Jack's Watercolor. Can never have too much white diamond. There's another one called Sapphire, Diamond Sapphire, that is also really neat, but it's not the same. It does a different thing. So there we have that. So then we kind of need a shadow going down here, right? But we can definitely just add a little bit of this for the shadowing. So we want to leave like areas in between. Now, because we just have no darkness, I am actually going to add a little bit of blue to this. And I'm trying to decide if I also want to add some more glitter to the areas, but let's do the blue first. So we're going to take the storm again and load my brush. And then we're going to kind of go in here. Okay, here on my brush. And create like the underside of the tree, right? So consider the glitter to be the top side of each tree branch. And so you're kind of just wanting to go in and do a little bit of shadowing underneath where you would, you know, you kind of feel like the tree is going, right? So like if this is a branch that's coming out, I'm kind of painting underneath it. So those little spaces is what I'm painting. And that's going to give us more of that effect. Now, a lot of people do this the other way, and you totally can. I wanted to see what it looked like with just the glitter, and then I knew I could always go back in and shadow it. And that's what I've done here, is I've got the shadowing going on. So now remember, if the moonlight is casting, then this top part is going to have to be brighter. So if I have put it in the wrong place, then we'll have to fix it. Now I'm going to start rinsing the color out of my brush, right, and tapping it out, because I want this to also have color, the shadow here, but I don't want it to be as bright as the actual tree, because we want it to reflect shadow. And that is done best not in the same coloring. So it does have some of the silver in it, but it's mostly just a little shadowing, just like that. See how that went? So now we're going to take our silver And I love the way the water looks with the silver in it. It's so pretty. And we're going to make sure that this area here has the brightest silver all the way going down the tree, because you want that to look like it's reflecting, right? So that's the area that we want the most silver. And on this side could be the darkest. So rinse your brush out again, and now we're going to put in the shadows on this side. And that's just going to be like adding a little more dark to just one side of the tree. Kind of like, not obviously though, I wouldn't do it stark. I would kind of blend it a little bit at a time. Do you see how I'm doing that? Where I'm not just going to making it hugely dark. I'm just gingerly kind of like giving it a little more shadowing, and I'm kind of working it over a little bit. And that's going to give you almost a little more natural effect on your tree. See how that works? And then of course, really close to the line of the tree is where the darker shadow could be. Perfect. Love that. Isn't that so pretty? So now we have room over here to write whatever we wanted to write, you know, because we just have our beautiful tree. And we have our card. So like later, if you want to add something there, you can. Now just for fun, if you do want to add some little like snow, you can either take this and flick it on there, which I don't know if this is probably not the right one to flick. It's kinda, I don't know. I think I need something else, but let's try. No, it's not really flicking. Maybe this one will flick. It's such a small little area. I need something that will flick, but just stay there. There we go. I almost feel like I could do a better job just by putting it in. I don't know, I guess the random ones do look really good. Let's wet this a little bit more. It's gotta be wet enough. The reason why the random ones look good is because they're small and large. You know, they're different sizes. Oh shoot, it's like an angel in the sky. Another happy accident. I don't think I can fix that. Maybe. Okay. Making a mess. Yeah, it'll be fine. Oh, that's so cool. I love it. It's so pretty. If it wasn't a night scene, I'd put birds in the sky, but you really can't. I'm tempted, but no. I like it though. I like it a lot. So now looking at this, when you take another shot at it, you could make this darker, right? Your Milky Way, it could have been way, way darker. I kind of like that it's lighter in this area, but you could have made it really, really super dark if you wanted to. And even this, if you want this to stand out even more, you can go back in with some more of your dark and just kind of hit it a little bit at a time until you build it up, I would say, to like this shadow color, because if it's not dark enough, right, then this stands out more than your tree. Because as you know, in art, the darks tend to stand out in this kind of scenario more than the lights. And then this area, we just want to like kind of blend it. See what I mean? It just kind of has to, I feel like for me to be happy with it, I just have to have it be just a little bit more. So pretty. I like this one. So what do we have? So now we've got these three. So we've got this one. I like the way that turned out. That's really pretty. Then we have this one. This is one of my favorites to do. I actually have a granulating watercolor class that has a lot of these kind of scenarios in it, and it's my favorite class by far. And then this one is really, really pretty. Now we have to go in and we have to do this one. So thinking back of what I was doing here, I love it when I don't have anything but my memory, and my memory sucks so bad. It's not even funny. Oh, I remember. Now I remember. So based on what I've already done, what can I show you? How about, let's think. I feel like we've already done the distance, like the stormy trees. And I feel like we've already done the Christmas tree with the moon. And then I have the row of trees. So those are good for those. For this, I'm wondering if I should maybe try something different. Nope, I like it this way. Okay, so we're gonna do the trees, but we are gonna do them a little bit different because I haven't really done this kind of tree for you before, I don't think. And I want it to look way, way different than the other ones. So you have something, I don't know, something more unique. But my salt didn't really like take on this paper as much as I wanted it to. So it kind of leaves me stuck a little bit with this version. Okay, so I'm going to use the lights and the darks, and we will take maybe this brush. So I'm going to use an angular shader. You can also use, I mean, pretty much anything. You could use this one too. This is the Portman brush. And I might switch back and forth between my custom brush. And we're going to put one main tree here, but it's going to be a different kind of tree. So it's going to follow this line. So we're going to do one main line in the center, just kind of dabbing it down, right? All the way down. And then as we come out, we want to just kind of like give it dry brushing, like a dry brushing effect. But you also want it to be a little more sparse in some areas. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what kind of tree it is, but we want it to be like dramatic, but not like a big fluffy tree. I mean, because I'm using a dagger, I kind of have to start on the outside and go in because of the shape of the brush when I feather it. Okay. So I just have to grab a little more, and I'm building up from the center and working out with just kind of I like the dagger brush for this because the dagger brush makes it kind of thicker in the center, but then gives us that wispy look coming out. And then as we come down here, we're actually going to just kind of build up this area this way so that we can ground our tree. I always call it grounding because that's what you really want to do, is you want to like make sure that your tree's just not, you know, kind of sitting nowhere, because this is a little more realistic. Well, it's not realistic, but it's a little more, you know, it won't make sense, right? It's based in realism a little bit. So you kind of do need some grounding on a tree like this. I feel like you do, but again, I want to respect your creativity. So if you don't want to ground your tree, you don't have to. Feathering just a bit more. Okay, so you see how like it's nice and it's deep, and it's really pretty and it's dark. And then over here, we're actually going to build a ridge line. So I'm going to be, we can either choose a color. Let's see what a color looks like. So let's get out, oh my gosh, my pine, and let's get out golden ochre. So I'm going to start up the golden ochre and see if this like kind of gives me a little bit more of those really cool golden tones, and it does. So we're going to do just some splashes over here and over here. Okay. Then we're going to take the green. And we're going to feed some green trees into this area here. Can you see what I'm doing? Sorry if I was a little bit off the camera. And the reason why I threw some of the yellow in there is because it's going to mix with the green in some of the areas, and it's going to create some lights and darks. Just gives you something else to look at. So I'm just tapping these little trees in here. And where I have the yellow, you can see how it's changing the color and just kind of giving me some random light green. Now this one, I'm going to see what happens if I add the yellow after the green. I think it works better to add the yellow first, but you see how it's like really good to have the yellow there though. Yeah, I actually like the effect of the yellow being there first and then the green, because I think it makes it kind of light, you know, and then it gets a little bit, I need more tissues, and then gets a little bit too wet. So that was mixing color on paper. So I'm using another brush to just add a little more yellow in some places and kind of give us that little tree, the tree shape. This is my angular shader, so I'm just kind of going at it like an arrow just to make the tree shape really easy. So we want kind of just almost like we're trying to reproduce some of the, you know, the look of not so much perfection, but a little bit of the dustiness. So now I'm going back over the one I did here, and I've got yellow on my angular shader, and I'm going down the tree because it will create a little bit of light in our tree, just a bit, and a little bit of green. So see how that's neat? It's kind of neat, right? It's looking like a little bit different, just gives it a little bit of a different look. And then up here, you can even like take some of your dark and you can like kind of create some framing that almost looks like there's some foliage. right? Very pretty. And then we need a little bit of the dark down here because I need some shadows. I don't want this area down here to be really, really light. I prefer it to be a little dark. And I also want to kind of give myself some shadow lines of those trees. In a very similar way that we did it with this. So just kind of building up, just so that the eye does not read the lights down here. I don't want the eye to really read a lot of light down here because I want it to see what we've left in the center. Now, of course, this is a toned paper, so it's not going to be as bright. We're ultimately going to have to hit it with some of our glitter for it to be very Christmassy. So I'm going to use first the white diamond, and I'm going to add that to this side of the tree at first. This is fun. Hey, it was pretty fun doing some Christmas cards, something different that we've done before. But all kind of like, you know, pretty easy in the same vein, so that if you wanted to set up multiple cards at once, this would be an easy way for you to kind of work through a scenario like that. And then up here, I'm going to give that. I'm going to give some of our branching some silver. You can also use the gold too if you like the gold better. Oh no, I just think because of the blue, sometimes the silver is really bright. Boy, these days have been so long for me. I'm so tired. But it's always fun to paint. Okay, and then I'm gonna go ahead and add a little bit to our trees here. Again, just gingerly, and this is still wet back here, so I feel like this is a good time to add it. You can always go back in and add more, but I feel like these trees being so far like in the distance, it's kind of better that it blends in and it doesn't, you know, and it has that just slight glitter and not necessarily like, you know, highly contrasting, bright glitter. I think it's kind of good if it looks a little smudgy. You can also make the glitter into like those arrow shapes, you know what I mean, like so they look like the swoops of the branches, and that almost kind of like makes it stand out more, you know, even though it's trees in the distance. I love the yellow though. I think the yellow looks really, really cool in this area, the way it blended in. And I kind of wish I did more of the yellow like here, you know, like if I were to go back in and re-wet some of this and then take some of my yellow and add it in. I don't know that it's going to have the same effect, but I don't think it's going to be bright enough, you know, because we've already got our color pretty much in place. But man, I just really like it. So I'm kind of going through and just tapping it through. Neat. I think this would have even looked better like on the Jax cotton paper or on this. I think it looks a little dark on this paper, but it looks good. You know, it's still something cool, something unique. So this is gonna have to dry, and then once it dries, we can go back and even make it brighter. Like maybe, I don't know, right now I'm kind of feeling like it should have a touch of our snow, like here. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I kind of feel like it needed to have that lower framing to be even like a little more Christmassy. All right, can't sign it yet because it is so wet, but there's another one. All right, so that was our 4 that we did. Which one did you guys like the best? So this one is a little more green and blue with our with a little framing here and a little framing down on the bottom. Sorry, I can't like touch it because it's still really wet. Then we have our misty trees. This is like, I think this is my favorite. I like this one a lot. And I really like this one too. Then this is kind of like the Christmas tree in the moonlight. And then we have our gold one. This is really pretty too. I don't know. They're all really good. I think they're all going to be really pretty. Like this is going to be really glistening and look really interesting. These ones I think look, I don't know, they look really good. I like them all. I think my favorite, I can't decide if I like the gold and the blue or if I like these. I think maybe these are my favorite ones. I really like this paper because this is really like just charming, you know, with the deckled edge and the thick, like handmade kind of rough watercolor paper. But this is also really pretty. I can go ahead and sign this one too. I can't believe I didn't mess these all up because I have so many paints out here. It's amazing to me that I didn't smudge paint all over this thing. Okay. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining me on the live stream. I hope you were able to catch it live. This video is going to go into our members area now, so happy holidays. I hope to see what you painted. Please go and share it with Jack's Art Challenge as the hashtag, and I will see it out there on social media. Have a wonderful, wonderful holiday, and I'll see you back again soon. Bye.